So Mobil 1 V8 Supercars making their way out to the circuit right now. It's time for the big bangers. The Rolling Thunder make their way out onto Red Star Raceway here at round 5 of the Extreme Festival. We managed to catch up with a couple of the drivers just before we went into race action at the pre-race press conference, I beg your pardon. And let's see what the drivers had to say about Red Star Raceway before we go racing. Mobil 1 V8 Supercars press conference. Fantastic to have you gentlemen here. Let's kick off in the middle, David. Take us through what a massive turnaround you've had in your season, and things going really well with the car and with your driving skills too.
Yeah, well, I said in my first season that I'm going to give myself 3 years to learn. Pity last year was a short year. But, yeah, it was a baptism of fire, getting to understand what the car does. I couldn't get the car to release, but I get it now, understand it. So, yeah, just hats off to Mackie, Demetrio Racing. Done a lot of effort into the car, and, yeah, it's come together nicely.
Moving on to the rookie on our left-hand side, it's passing on to Richard Fuller. They've always said that these V8s are a big go-kart with the locker diff at the back. You've come from a karting background. How big a step is it?
Similarities may be there, but my goodness gracious me, it's a difficult car to drive. That locker diff plays such a major role in how that car comes through a corner. You have to play at that accelerator all the time, either to lock it or release it. But it's go-kart-like, possibly. You've got to carry a bit of corner speed. Pity I can't lift the inside wheel. It would make it a lot easier, you know. But yeah, enjoying the car, loving the car.
Moving on to Thomas. Thomas, you've got some work to do now, championship-wise. It's tight at the top still, and still some work to do heading into the last couple of rounds of this championship, and particularly here at Red Star.
Yeah, Red Star is a bit tight, and it looks like I'll have to move Mackie out of the way, which is not a biggie. I just want to say well done to Richard at the last round at Zwartkops. You know, a rookie came in and showed us how to do things. It's not going to happen again, ever. But yeah, no, I look forward to the race. We had a good race here last time, and I hope that we can put Mackie in his place.
Some fighting words there from Thomas Reeb. I like it. He's on the front row, but he's not on pole. A turnaround as well coming from Terry Wolford in the Fuchs Falcon. A brilliant job to find whatever issues were ailing that car after a big incident at the last round. So certainly great to see him back into formation flying at the front end in the Fuchs Ford Falcon. Alliteration aside, alongside him is the Mobil 1 Chevy Lumina. So it's Fords versus Chevys on the front row. Behind them, championship contender is Franco Di Matteo and Warren Lombard in the Pep Boys Automotive Ford Mustang. He'll be pushing hard as well to try and get through there too, and hopefully take on the big gunners ahead of him. Andre De Lange in the Roofshaw car. Just behind that, he's in the Jaguar, ahead of Mackie Adlam, also in a Jag. Not where Mackie Adlam wants to be to try and make this another championship. 4 in a row he's already got. He's looking for 5 in a row. It'll be the first time that a driver has taken 5 championships in a row for what was the V8 Supercars in the past, and what was originally, of course, the modified saloon car championship that these cars eventually took their birthrights from. Great to see JP Nokia there in the lime green Hulk-coloured N4 Autocraft car. That Corvette is also a very, very quick little machine around here, particularly here at Red Star Raceway too. Will be a man to watch out for if he's able to get some good starts in first this race, and of course so with the inverted grid and reverse grid for race number 2. Carl Nell just alongside him, and then it'll be Richard Fuller, the man we just spoke to, and David Kutsia, who are the second last row of the grid. Stevie Herbst bringing up the rear there, the chairman of the board in the PPG, and he'll be looking hard to push from the back end in the Prime Instrumentation and PPG Corvette. Chevys versus Fords, that's what we're looking for here in the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars as they get ready to go now for their first heat of action. It is a rolling start, so it'll be Terry Wolford to dictate the pace as they roll round out of turn 13 onto the main straightaway. Big fights in this field in the past, and some expected here today as well. There is Fuller. As he said, the big locker diff on these cars, very difficult to manage, but he's slowly but surely getting to grips with it. He's under the tutorage of a multiple champion in his own right in V8s and big V8 race cars, but never a V8 champion in this category. Came very close on a number of occasions to Rolf Duplessis. but you can't ask for a better man to teach you how to get cars around the track fast. PPG Prime Instrumentation Corvette there of Stevie Herbst at the back. So try and get as much heat into the rubber as possible. Won't be too difficult for these guys to do that. Not with ambient temperatures sitting currently at 36 degrees Celsius. The real feel of 36 degrees Celsius here, 32 degrees Celsius ambient temperature, and of course slight breeze coming in there. It's about 9 kilometers an hour. There's absolutely no cloud cover, and the wind gusting up at about 17 k's an hour. That's how things stand heading into this first heat of V8 Supercars. What we found yesterday with these cars, of course, is the back not the backdraft, the backfire of the cars as they gear down. If the cars are any close to the grass side of things on either side of the track, and depending on where your exhaust pipe is, tend to light the fires up as well. And we're about to light the fires up here for race 1. Terry Wolford setting the pace now as our pace car rolls off. Thomas Reeve will come up alongside him. De Matteo and Lombard side by side there for the second row. Third row looking very good in the hands of Franco De Matteo and Lombard. But here we go down towards turn 1. Oh, Terry Wolford has caught them all napping. He drops the hammer down into turn 1 and leads into turn 1. They all slot in line astern through the chicane and into Bridgestone for the very first time. You can see just how tight it is there between the mid-pack cars. N4 Autocraft car being put under pressure already almost instantaneously there by Carl Nell. Somebody put a wheel on the dirt there. I think it might have been De Matteo putting a big tacky onto the dirty stuff. And Warren Lombard trying to make him capitalise for that little mistake as he comes down under braking for turn 3. He runs high and wide in the Pep Boys automotive car, looking for an opportunity to get through on the Deltec Batteries Jaguar of Franco, the Italian stallion De Matteo, and hasn't quite been able to get it right just yet. Now what you're going to find is, how do you get past? That's how you get past. Thanks, Mackie. Right on cue. Adam diving on the inside of Lombard, who opened up the door, and he says, thanks very much, I'll have that all day, every day. And Lombard demoted down to 5th. Adlam promoted up to 4th place, right onto his championship rival's tail. The two cats going at it now. Deltec Batteries Jaguar versus the Mackie Adlam and Adlam Auto Jaguar XJR. We get onto the short straight now. Looks like the third cat coming along for a bit of a bite as well, as the Roofshaw Jaguar dives and looks to get through. Couldn't quite make it stick there on Lombard. Lombard runs wide out of the triple right-hander. Did open up the door there, but no, the Roofshaw car just squeezing out Carl Nell, but not able to get through there on Lombard. Here comes Adlam. Adlam dives on the inside of De Matteo. De Matteo shuts the door. Very close between these two though. No inch given there whatsoever, and Lombard tries to capitalise as well. Comes up right up close and personal to the back end of that second cat on track. So the Falcon leads out with Terry Wolford at the wheel, ahead of the Chevy Lumina of Thomas Reeve. And here we go into turn number 1. Is there a chance here for Adlam? Oh, he has a big look. I think De Matteo realises he's never going to be able to make a move stick into turn 1. Very tricky chicane that brings them onto the back straight for the second time in anger. 10 laps to go, well, 10 laps of action and 9 to go of that 10. They've completed the first lap in anger, and everybody besides Mackie Adlam has pretty much stayed line astern and as per the race start. A couple of changes there, but need to say the biggest one came out of Adlam, finding a way through there on Warren Lombard early on. Now trying to do the same thing to get through on Franco De Matteo. Oh, great bit of driving there from Adlam. Just put the wheel up the inside, coming out of the right-hand sweep and into the dog bone, seals the deal. So Adlam moves up into what is now 3rd place. What a move there from Mackie Adlam, diving through and finding a way, now trying to get up on the inside and ahead of the Chevy Lumina of Thomas Reeb. Roofshaw Jaguar all over the back end of Warren Lombard, looking for a way through. Up close and personal. How much up close and personal or closer do you want to get there, Andre De Lange? De Lange literally fent a trailer on the back end of that Ford of Warren Lombard's. The Mustang just hanging in there. Oh, and locking up. Oh, that's how hard we are seeing these boys trying. De Lange locks up a big tacky going into the right-handers. And he just managed to hang on to it and not be outgunned there by Carl Nell, who's waiting to pounce. Behind Nell, it's Nokia, Fuller, Kutsia, and Herbst. But the fight is on here in this mid-pack. phenomenal start to the day's racing here, that is for sure, for the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. And remember what happens in race number 2, all of these cars will be inverted, which means the possibilities of more overtaking and some aggressive overtaking could happen in race number 2. Running wide, not allowed to go too far wide. You've got to watch out for those cones. They are demarcating the track to play on. Fuller nearly clipping one of the cones as he came out of the final turn. Lombard hangs on for now. Closing in on the back end of the Deltec Batteries Jaguar of Franco de Matteo. Remember, that car has basically just been rebuilt within the space of about a week and a half. He had a massive crash at the Samola Hill Climb. And what a move there for the lead. Oh, Wolford's got a problem. Wolford's got a problem. I was going to say, that didn't look like it was that easily done. Wolford slows up dramatically, pulls to the right-hand side and allows first place to be overtaken and taken by Thomas Reeb. So Reeb now is the man who's on the move there, and Mackie Adlam realizes it. He's now going to try and find a way through there on the Chevy. That Lumina leads out. Deltec Batteries Cat is in third place ahead of Lombard in the Mustang. Then it's the third Jaguar of the Roofshaw-sponsored Andre De Lange. Also looking pretty dangerous is De Lange. Lap times, all personal best from every single driver, right down to 9th place David Kutsia on that last pass. So you can see the tyres have come into their own. They are up to optimum race temperature now, and everybody's going to start putting in the lap times that could count. Short straight. Slipstream possibly. Not a lot to play with out there. Very difficult conditions with the hot temperatures. And once again, De Lange locks up. Runs wide. Is that going to be a chance for Nel to dive through? It is. Nel dives through. Great opportunistic driving there. And oh, De Lange's out of shape. Putting wheels onto the dirt. Here comes Fuller. Fuller dives through the inside as well. Big flame from the backfire there as he came under braking, and now gears down. There's an issue. I wonder if something's broken on that slip and slide there. No, he gets going again. Just maybe in the wrong gear coming out of that corner. But Andre De Lange has made some crucial mistakes there and lost 2 positions in the maneuvers that he tried to pull there. He locked up coming down into turn number 8. And unfortunately got it all wrong. Here comes a maneuver possibly from Mackie Adlam into turn 1. He's close enough on the Lumina. Will it be Slipstream City down the N12 straight away? Mobil 1 Chevy Lumina versus the Adlam Auto Jaguar XJR. Reeb puts the power down. He'll be very wary about where he can overtake and look to try and go defensive. Not allow Adlam any room to pounce. He's in the ultimate car to pounce, of course, the Black Cat or the Jaguar that he drives. It's not the black one, it's the Adlam Auto one. Fuller's into pit lane. Fuller's got a problem, and you can see there from Roof du Plessis saying cut the engine. Something's gone wrong there on the Mustang. So Fuller pulling into pit lane. Here comes a maneuver from Adlam, applying pressure onto Reeb. Looking for a chance to dive through here. Can he get through into the hairpin? It's very tricky. First gear corner here for these big V8 supercars. Remember, they do 140 k's an hour plus in first gear. So it's first gear, second gear. Bang it to third possibly by the end of the short straight. They definitely get to third gear on the back straight away, but maybe not yet on the short one. Here comes a return of the favour possibly here from Warren Lombard, trying to keep out Carl Nell. 2 Fords on the back end of the Jaguar of the Italian stallion. Oh, look at that change of line there from Mackie Adlam, just getting Reeb to look in the mirrors. Trying to catch Thomas Reeb off guard. We heard how fired up Reeb was in his interview. He said no one was going to get through. He'd make it pretty easy to get ahead of Mackie Adlam. He's done that so far. But now can he keep Adlam out? That's the question. There is Terry Wolford into pit lane as well. 2 retirements, Wolford and Fuller. And Adlam now trying to get to the front end as quickly as he can. Still a long way to go. 6 laps of race action to come. And Adlam applying the pressure onto Reeb. Lombard applying the pressure onto De Matteo, and the similar kind of pressure being applied onto Lombard by Carl Nell. One of the best drivers we've seen out of Carl Nell, that is for sure. Wheels off the dirt there. I think that was Mackie Adlam putting some wheels on the dirt. Compromised his drive down the big straight. Let's see whether or not he's able to do anything about it here. Lombard having a look. Not quite close enough there. The Pep Boys Automotive and High Tech Racing. Gavin Wilkins prepping that car. And it seems to be going exceptionally well here today. He now goes on the hunt for that Black Cat ahead of him. Carl now looking to pounce as well, just behind him. See just how these guys are having to double up their opportunities and look for chinks in the armor. It's the only way you can find a way past, is to get some kind of mistake out of the driver in front of you, and the pressure's got to be applied to get that mistake made. That's what Adlam's trying to do. Sparko and Adlam Auto Jaguar fighting there with the Mobil 1 Chevy Lumina. Here he comes. He has a look on the inside, but no, as the door firmly shut. Reeb shuts the door. Change up coming out of the hairpin. Looks like the Mateo has lost out some ground. He has indeed. The two Fords diving through and getting ahead of the Black Cat. The Deltec battery check. Oh, Adlam over the dirt. Adlam with a big maneuver trying to get through there and just cuts the car right across the dirty stuff. That's going to give some breathing room. The Chevy Lumina didn't make a mistake there. Thomas Reeb just held his line, but Adlam was trying something desperate there. Couldn't make it stick and went over the dirty stuff. Has that done some damage to the undercarriage of the car? We'll have to wait and see. These are quite robust cars, these, I've got to tell you. But Adlam making that kind of maneuver with the dry conditions here at Red Star Raceway. We haven't had any spring rains here just yet. We're not expecting anything today. That could have possibly done a little bit of damage to the bottom part of that car. Lombard up to third, looking for a podium again. Carl now looking for his first podium. And you can see just how hungry Nell is. They've left the Mateo in their wake as they come into the Bridgestone chicane. Certainly not what we were expecting here. Adam not making uncharacteristic mistakes like that too often. And you can see just the frustration. The frustration side of things is starting to be felt there by Mackie Adlam. There's no doubt about it. And you can see he comes right back underneath the back end of that Chevy Lumina. Thomas Reeb's day is not done yet. Adlam is still on fire and looking for a chance now with the halfway stage reached here for Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. Coming down towards the hairpin. Watch for the drive now from the Adlam Auto Jaguar. Trying to get up ahead of that Chevy Lumina of Thomas Reeb. Chevy versus Ford power now. Here they come up the short straight. Background, it's still Lombard and Nell. To Mateo, still hanging on to fifth place. It's got enough of a margin there to try and keep out David Kutsia and Andre De Lange in the background. Adlam now, will he try the similar kind of maneuver? This is where he got it all wrong last time. Dives across, no, not close enough. Reeb was just positioning that car to perfection to not allow any opportunities for an overtaking maneuver. And Adlam is trying everything he knows in terms of his abilities behind a race car's wheel to find a way through there. Lombard from Nell. Nell following through and trying to just get through for that third place. It would be Nell's first podium if he gets there. But Warren Lombard certainly wants a podium. He's been off the podium for a long time. He has been on the podium, but it's been a long time since he's been back on it. So he'll certainly not give this one up without a fight. 4 laps to go. And there's 2 fights to watch out for. First and second place. Those two heading onto the N12 straight away down towards turn 3. Reeb and Adlam. Fastest laps coming out of both Lombard and Nell on that previous pass. Not quite as quick as the guys out in front of them, but certainly personal bests coming out of both Lombard and Nell for the fight for third and fourth place. And see just how hot that is getting as well. Lombard has pulled a little bit of a margin over Carl Nell. So he's going to try and control things there from that point of view in the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars with 3.5 laps to go from where they are there in the dog bone. Reeb is under huge pressure. This is probably one of the best ices we've seen out of these two in a long, long time, where it's been this close and no one's made a move just yet. Number 1 car, of course, has had that number 1 plate for the last 4 seasons in a row. Thomas Reeb would like to take that away from him, and so would Franco De Mateo. De Mateo's chances falling by the wayside there, but I did mention the fact as we see the Jaguar locking up into the right-handers that Franco De Mateo's car had some big damage from a hill climb crash at the Samola hill climb 2 weeks ago. So he certainly has done a valiant job to get the car all patched up. They actually got it fixed overnight for him to still participate in the King of the Hill competition on the Sunday at Samola, but it was literally strapped together with duct tape and zip ties. They've had a chance to do some carbon fiber repairs to it, but maybe not as fired up as what he wanted it here at Red Star Raceway, with maybe a little bit of battle scars underneath that he hasn't picked up on just yet, which is why he's dropped down into 5th place. Warren Lombard, Pep Boys Automotive Mustang, coming across the line there for 3rd. We're watching Reeb and Adlam still go at it here for 1st and 2nd. Adlam this time hangs on, doesn't put a wheel on the dirt. He's put a wheel on the dirt almost every single time he's come out of turn 2. This time out though, much better drive from the Adlam Auto. Looks like he's going to try and find some special line to get through on Reeb. Reeb is going to be very wary. He's going to be watching his mirrors all the time, placing the car as much of the center of the circuit as possible to not open up any doors and give Adlam a sniff of 1st place. Reeb, Adlam, Lombard, Nell and Dimato, your top 5, but behind that of course is still DeLange, Kutsia, Stevie Herbst, JP Nokia. I'm not sure if Richard Fuller's been able to get back on track. I didn't see him roll out of pit lane, so he might be still stuck in pit lane along with Terry Wolford. I love it in the background. You might hear some kids screaming from the gallery there. That's, of course, Mackie Adlam's kids shouting for their dad. Here comes Nell. Oh, there's a big move here from Carl Nell. Can he quite possibly squeeze out Warren Lombard? No, not quite close enough just yet, but Lombard just placing that Mustang. He runs a bit wide. Lombard might be battling with tyres there a little bit. Traction is definitely becoming a big problem. Oh, and as I say that, lighting up the back end is Carl Nell as well. So it looks like the two Mustangs might be fighting for traction ability and how much they've got left in these tyres heading into the closing stages. They have got 3 laps still to go. Still some work to be done. 2 laps as they cross the pass now. And Reeb still hangs on. Reeb and Adlam into turn 1, Bridgestone chicane. Thomas Reeb has soaked up the pressure admirably from Mackie Adlam. You heard it in his interview, he was not going to give Adlam any room. He still wants to take the fight to Mackie Adlam. Peel that number 9 off and chuck a number 1 on it by the end of the season and make the Mobil 1 Chevy Lumina the number 1 car in Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. Dimato is still fighting hard here. You can see the 2 cats going at it. It's Andre DeLange on his tail, the white cat from Roofshore, taking on the Deltec Batteries Jaguar of the Italian stallion Franco Dimato. David Kutsia still circulating in 7th place. Steve Herbst just behind him. 2 cats fighting into the dog bone. It's pretty interesting to see that. Here's our 2 Jaguars head towards the dog bone section. There is Stevie Herbst, and I think we may even see the leaders closing in. Yes, indeed. Thomas Reeb and Adlam are about to catch Steve Herbst, and a back marker could come into play here. Is Adlam going to be able to use it to his advantage, or will Reeb try and do the same thing? Thomas Reeb and Adlam coming up on the back marker. There they come. Oh, but great driving from the chairman of the board there. But it's opened up the door. Oh, I thought it might do. Reeb had to go a little bit defensive coming out of the double right-handers, a triple right-hander I should say, into the left. And he went defensive to keep out Adlam, trying to find a way through there on the Prime Instrumentation and PPG Corvette. And now you can see massive pressure being applied there by Adlam. The frustration level must be pretty high. There's not a lot of room to play here, and there's not a lot of room to overtake. The track is very wide, but it's to find the opportunity to overtake. That's what you've got to take into account. Reeb about to cross the line one more time. As he comes across the line, they got 1 to go. Is Adlam going to find that opportunity now? In the background, Carl Nell has moved ahead of Lombard. So we got to change up for 3rd place. Nell ahead of Lombard. 1st and 2nd still up for grabs here. It's not done yet. Oh, this time the Cafe Automotive and Mobil 1 Chevy Lumina puts a wheel on the dirt. That's the first off-track excursion we've seen there from Thomas Reeb. You can see just how hard he's having to fight to keep off the big intentions being shown here by Mackie Adlam to take the win. Adlam is just going left, right, centre, everywhere he can go to try and open up the door and squeeze through. He goes on the inside into the dog bone. He's not close enough. Thomas Reeb shuts the door. He runs into the apex there, coming out of the first part of the dog bone. Now heading up the hill. It's a right-hander into a left-hand flick, then into a 90-degree left-hander. It comes right back on you, a little flick to the left and then to the right, into a hairpin. First gear. Thomas Reeb from Mackie Adlam. What a battle here between these two. Brilliant action all race long. And big slip and slide onto the dirty stuff there. Has that compromised his drive. Here comes Adlam. Is he going to have a go here at the end of the short straight? No, he's not close enough. Reeb is good on the brakes. Has he been able to make the turn though? Yes, he does. He just hangs onto that inside line. Defending for his life here. Defending for the win in Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. Adlam has another look. A big dive on the inside to try and get Mackie Adlam's Adlam Auto Jaguar on the inside of Thomas Reeb. He's not there yet. 2 more corners, 2 more opportunities to have a go. This one he won't be able to make it stick, but possibly going into the last corner. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but I think we're going to see Thomas Reeb hang on. Yes, indeed. So Mobil 1 and Cafe Automotive Chevy Lumina of Reeb is going to hang on for race 1 win. These two, of course, are going to be demoted to the back of the field for race number 2. So can you imagine the action that's going to come from that? Oh, Adlam runs wide out at the final corner. Pushing that hard to try and take the win, but Reeb hangs on. Adlam in second place. What a dice between those two. Carl Nell is going to come through for his first podium ever. Or is he? As Warren Lombard tries to come back at him. It is Nell on the podium. That's the first time we see Carl Nell on the podium of V8 Supercars. That is for sure. Lombard in 4th place. He'll be kicking himself for making a mistake somewhere on track. The Italian Stallion hangs on for the 5th place in the Deltic Batteries Jaguar. Ahead of Andre De Lange in the Roofshore Jaguar. So 2 cats coming across the line, the black one versus the white one. And the one out there by the Italian Stallion over De Lange. David Kutsia still circulating and going to come through for 7th place ahead of Steve Herbst, who was lapped. JP Nokia would have pulled into pit lane by the looks of things. Yeah, he only completed 5 laps. So he unfortunately was out a little bit earlier on in the race. We didn't see him go into pit lane, but Fuller definitely was in pit lane, and so was Terry Wolford. So last car to come to the line will be David Kutsia. And that will wrap up our first bit of coverage from the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars here at round 5 of the Extreme Festival at Red Star Raceway. Kutsia seems to be just battling a little bit there. Seems to be a little bit of a misfire on that car as well as he comes on. He's still got thumbs out and shaking his fist saying, yes, I got across the line. The Mobil 1 grid car comes through to finish up the race down in 7th place. And that wraps up the first part of the day's proceedings here at Red Star Raceway. Welcome back to Red Star Raceway. Final bit of action from the race day today here. Round 5 of the Extreme Festival in Mpumalanga. And it's David Kutsia who's run wide, slightly on the warm-up lap there by the looks of things, in the Mobil 1 grid car. And Mustang just getting out of shape there, maybe with a bit of cold tyres. Unfortunately, he's got back on track and now can make his way back to the front end where he needs to be. And of course, oh, he's battling a bit out there. There's some kind of issue there for David Kutsia. That's the second time he's gone off. JP Nokia just giving him a bit of a room there to get him back on track. He's going to have some very dirty tyres now, and there's not a lot of place for him to try and clean them up, because he got out of shape coming into the 2nd and 3rd last turns, and he's got out of shape again coming into the penultimate turns. So that's definitely not what he wanted. You can see a change up on the front row. It's an all Jaguar front row with Roofshore's Andre De Lange on front and on pole position ahead of Franco D'Amato, the Italian Stallion, and Deltic Batteries Jaguar. I wonder if there was a bit of strategy put into that finish for D'Amato in race number 1, knowing that the inverted grid would put him onto the front row and possibly in contention for a race win. Carl Nell was in 3rd place overall, and he finishes, of course, there in 4th. And, well, he's 3rd now ahead of Warren Lombard. So there might have been a change up there in the results for race number 1, because Nell definitely finished ahead of Warren Lombard. And then it's Mackie Adlam and race 1 winner Thomas Reeb. A little bit of a gap to Kutsia, who, as you can see, has got a little bit of concerned teammates around him, checking that everything's okay in the car. Just double checking that those wheels have been torqued correctly. He said there was a bit of a shudder, and maybe that's what caused him to spin out. JP Nokia and Terry Wolford right at the back. And of course, starting the last row of the grid there is Richard Fuller, who will be looking to come through the field. Doesn't look like we've got Steve Herbst back on track. He's had some problems in the Pri Instrumentation and PPG Corvette. 10 cars about to go to battle now for V8 Supercars. The Mobil 1 V8s will have a rolling start, so they've got another lap to be completed behind our safety car. and then it's up to Andre de Lange to decide who's going to have the ability to get off the line as quickly as possible and hopefully hang on to that lead for a while. Creative Inc. doing all the livery on the side of that car. And the two Jaguars head off down into turn 1 now, ahead of 2 Ford Mustangs. Another Jaguar and a Chevy Lumina. A Ford Mustang, 2 Corvettes and a Ford Falcon. And this final car down towards turn 1 into the chicane will be Richard Fuller. And he's piloting a Ford Mustang as well. Temperatures have dropped dramatically, but still relatively warm here. I say dramatically because the last time I checked the temperatures we were at about 37 degrees Celsius. It's now 28 degrees Celsius, so still very warm. And the slight breeze has disappeared here completely now. There's no breeze whatsoever. So it's almost ideal conditions here for these V8 Supercars to go racing in for the last time today. And we'll see whether or not they can keep it all on track. Watch out for some overtaking maneuvers from the cars in the back because they've got to get to the front. Remember, with this inverted grid, it makes it for slightly different racing. And of course, 2 extra laps for the V8 Supercars to allow the cars at the back a little bit extra time to possibly get through the slower cars in front of them from race number 1. Doesn't necessarily mean those slower cars are actually slow. They were just cars that finished up further back in the pack, and of course inverting down to what is 6th place on the grid is how the grid inversion has happened. So 6th place was in the hands of Andre de Lange. He's now on pole. 1st place was Thomas Reeb, and he's down in 6th. JP seems to have got his car sorted out. He had some problems in race number 1, but looks like he's got it sorted. So has Terry Wolford and Richard Fuller. See what those guys can do from a bit further back in the pack. So Mobil 1 V8 Supercars now starting to get themselves into formation. As I said, it'll be up to Andre de Lange to dictate the pace of how this race starts into turn 1. 2 Cats on the front row, 2 Mustangs on the second row, a Cat and a Lumina on the third. And then it's Falcons, Corvettes and Mustangs at the back. Chevy fans and Ford fans stand by. It's basically 4 Fords, in fact 5 Fords before we get to the first Chevy. Lights are on. De Lange will dictate the pace. Will De Lange be able to outgun De Matteo down towards turn 1? Lights are out, they drop the hammer. First gear, 140 k's an hour, and slotting into 2nd place is De Matteo. Looks like Mackie Adlam caught Thomas Reeb out ever so slightly, but Reeb makes up the ground now as they get into the chicane. Tucks underneath the wing of the Adlam Auto Jaguar XKR. And now as they head down the back straightaway for the first time, parallel to the N12 highway, it's 280 k's an hour before they roll off and pitch it down into an off-camber left-hander. Downhill off-camber left-hander as well. As they go in there for the first time, tyres are going to have to just have probably another lap or so to get up to optimum race temperature. It doesn't stop Mackie Adlam already having a dive and looking for a way through. He's trying to get past there on Lombard. Lombard goes defensive to keep him out. Lombard is not going to make it easier for Mackie Adlam, and he's going to have to work just as hard to get through on Carl Nell as he had to do in the first heat. Nell and Lombard had a great fight. Inch ending up with Nell going through into 3rd, but I think he was actually demoted down 1 position, which is why he's in 3rd now and not in 4th place where he should be have started this race according to my records. But now as they come up onto the back straight away, and the short straight up towards the top end of the circuit again. There's a move in the background coming out of Terry Wolford looking for a way through. Defensive driving coming out of Lombard to keep out Adlam. And almost going into the back end of Carl Nell. Adlam has a look on the inside of that corner again. That's where he went off in race number 1, cutting across the grass, trying to open up some opportunities. Lombard sees him coming. Oh, he runs wide and puts some dirt into the face of Thomas Reeb. He goes high and wide into the 3rd last corner. He runs a little bit out of shape there, giving Reeb a bit of a sniff and Lombard a little bit of breathing room. And now they head towards the penultimate corner, into the last one. Here they come. Brilliant stuff from the two cats out front, and no changes between them just yet, but Demeter definitely looking dangerous. He closes onto the back end of Andre de Lange. Demeter's maneuvers looking to get through for first place, and looks like a little bit of a loss of grip and maybe a little bit of compromised drive there from Adlam. But oh, problems! Nearly going right into the back end of Warren Lombard. Adlam very lucky to avoid that car that slowed right in front of him. I think Lombard might have missed a gear or some kind of issue there on the Mustang from Pet Boys Automotive. And as he comes out, he's dropped right back. And it looks like he might have missed a gear or something. Something's broken on that car. You can see the smoke coming out of the back end of Warren Lombard's car. And some kind of issue there for Warren Lombard. Big issue. It's starting to smoke up rapidly at the back end of that car. Might be some body rub on the tyres that's catching him out there. Doesn't seem to be stopping his ability to go forward. Although there's a big plume of white smoke coming out of the back of that car. Don't know if Warren can see it just yet, but there's definitely an issue. There's some bodywork damage there. I think maybe Adlam went into the back of him when he slowed dramatically coming out of turn 1 and 2 in the chicane. It allowed Adlam through, it allowed Reeb through as well. But it's dropped Warren Lombard back down into 6th place. It's definitely not where he wants to be. And the guys behind him will be concerned, is there going to be some fluid coming out of that car? Or is it just body rub? Terry Wolford dives on the inside, finding a way past as he heads up onto the back end of Warren Lombard now. He's managed to squeeze through and get ahead of David Kutsia. I think it's just body rub, I'm not quite sure, but of course a lot of body rub on those tyres will eventually wear through. Here is a move from Demeter, trying to get up the inside of De Lange. De Lange shuts the door. De Lange and Demeter fighting for the lead. Roofshaw Jaguar XKR versus the Deltec Batteries Jaguar XKR of the Italian stallion out there. That, of course, is Franco Demeter. I mentioned the fact that that car was involved in a massive accident at the hill climb, and they've patched it together very nicely to get him back into action here for this round of V8 Supercars. The Mobil 1 V8 Supercars heading into the Bridgestone chicane, and Carl Nell under pressure big time and starting to feel it. Nell will realize he's got a multiple SA champion on his tail. 4-time back-to-back winner in the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars, Mackie Adlam, looking for 3rd place and looking to try and get ahead of the man now who is in 3rd, Carl Nell. Mustang versus Jaguar. And the Mustang hangs on for now just to keep out Adlam. Adlam's watching his rearview mirrors and seeing slowly but surely the advance of the Chevy Lumina behind him of Thomas Reeb. Here's a move on the inside, great placement, but no. Nell shuts the door. He's not going to let Adlam through. That's brilliant. Slams the door firmly shut in Adlam's face, and Adlam had to come out of it and actually locked up. Put a wheel on the dirt there ever so slightly. Oh, Demeter's out of shape as well, coming out of the dog bone. That's not good for Franco Demeter's point of view. Remember, Franco Demeter is in the contention for a championship here, along with Mackie Adlam and Thomas Reeb, and there's problems. N4 Autocraft Corvette of JP Nokia stricken on the sideline. Will that possibly call for a safety car? We'll keep an eye out for that. Is it in a dangerous position, or is he out of harm's way? And as I see out of harm's way, here comes some harm. Oh, Adlam has put Carl Nell into a big slide. Tapping the back end of the Mustang. He catches it and brings it back on track. He has not given up the space. That is top quality. Oh, and there's a problem. Wow, what happened there? Carl Nell having to avoid the spinning Roofshaw Jaguar. And Andre de Lange was out of shape there big time. Carl Nell got out of shape, and here comes de Lange straight down to our commentary position. He runs off the circuit with a broken Jaguar. I'm not quite sure if there was a touch there between himself and Demeter. Red flags. Red flag being called. Demeter possibly coming together there with Andre de Lange, or has de Lange possibly spoiled the day? No, there you go. Carl Nell goes past Demeter across the line, but then realizes it's under red flag. And he's going to have to do a little bit of a short circuit there to come back to the grid. But, well, we've kept the best to last, haven't we? A clean day's racing, and we thought we were going to get all the way to the end with another clean day's racing, and then Mobil 1 V8 Supercars decided, nah, we're going to give you some work to do. We're going to make you work hard. So Andre de Lange, unfortunately, running off the circuit after spinning out. I'm not quite sure what happened for him to spin out, but something either broke on the car or possibly a touch there. You can see just trying to cool the car down and not let the heat of the exhaust and the engine catch the very dry grass a lot. We've had that on a few occasions this weekend, particularly with the V8 Supercars. The very hot temperatures that come out of these cars, especially when they backfire or when they stop on the grass like that and they cut the engine, the compression. So let's have a look at this as they come down here. You can see this is where Adlam touches the back end of Carl Nell. Nell catches it, goes straight onto the grass, keeps it buried over the grass, comes back onto the track. Now as he comes round the left-hander and opens up the throttle, all of a sudden there is the Roofshaw Jaguar right in his way. He has to go around the outside onto the dirty stuff again and avoid the Roofshaw Jag. You can see there's some damage on the front right to that car as it's going off the circuit completely. And he runs straight onto the grass and off at the third last turn. So it's now Dimatoa and Mackie Adlam on the front row. That's how they're going to line up. We'll wait and see and get confirmation of that as soon as we can. But what a turnaround here. And we've only completed 2 of the 10. As I said, V8 Supercars going to make us work hard for our last race of the day. De Lange was leading, and if they had to stop the race there, they'd go a lap back, so De Lange would still take the victory. Carl Nell very lucky to survive. I don't know how he was able to keep that car on track. He went off 3 times in the space of 2 corners. You have to admit that he was helped out ever so slightly by Mackie Adlam. Adlam's frustration just trying to find a way through there on Nell. And a little tag from behind put Nell into the spin. He caught it, got back on track, and then had to almost instantaneously go back off the circuit onto the grass to avoid that car. De Lange's Roofshaw Jaguar. Pity there for him. There you can see they're just wetting the grass either side of the car, just in case. They definitely don't want to have a fire of any nature here with that car catching alight, or the hot exhaust pipe or engine components underneath the bonnet of that car causing the grass to catch alight. As I said, we've had it about 3 times this weekend where a supercar has gone off track, bit of backfire or decompression under gearing down, and the flame comes out the side of the car and just lights this very dry grass up. We've had hardly any rain in the Gauteng and Mpumalanga region, and it's pretty much due for the rainy season to start, but it hasn't started just yet, which is making it exceptionally difficult, especially when you've got cars that have got massive flames out of the side of them going onto very dry grass. Let's have a look at that in replay again. As you can see, the action that started this entire procedure. This is, of course, Terry Wolford going on the inside of Warren Lombard a bit further back, but then further up the pace. This is where Mackie Adlam went into the back end of Carl Nell, tapping the back of the Mustang. He catches it first, gets onto the grass for the first time, comes across, keeping it buried, almost Tokyo Drift style onto turn number 7 and 8. As he comes into turn 9, he then climbs on the loud pedal, and as he climbs on the loud pedal, realizes that there's a spinning Roofshaw Jaguar in his way, and he goes right and onto the grass to avoid the spinning Jag, and Adlam goes left and stays on the black stuff to avoid the same spinning Jaguar. Both of them very lucky to miss Andre De Lange. De Lange then decides to go straight on and carry on, but as he tries to turn in for turn number 10 and 11, unfortunately he's got no steering whatsoever and just goes straight on. So I wonder if the steering arm broke on the right-hand side of the car. There was a little bit of a lower right-hand side than the left of that car, and I think that's where De Lange's problem started. And whatever happened between him on his own, or possibly with Franco Dimatoa, we didn't see the incident between those 2 cars. If it was all on his own, some unfortunately has broken the car, and it's put him out of contention for race number 2. He was on pole and was leading the race at that stage. So as soon as we've got confirmation of what's going to happen here, we will let you know. Once again, we had 2 Jaguars on the front row for the start of race number 2. We've got 2 Jaguars on the front row for the restart of part 2 of race 2. Just want to check and see if anybody's sending us any information as to what's going to happen now. No information at this stage from the various WhatsApp groups and communication channels that are opened up here at Red Star Raceway. for round 5 of the Extreme Festival. Some activity on some of those cars just to make sure that they're all okay. I'm sure that the Pep Boys automotive team would have jumped onto Warren Lombard's car to see what the issue is at the back end of that car. I think he had a bit of battle scars there for a touch between one of the cars and himself. We saw for a couple of corners and probably about a lap and a half, big white smoke coming out of the back of the car, but I think it was body rub on the tyre. Cars firing up in the background. We can hear them starting here from my commentary position. We're just on the right hand side of that shot that you can see. We're actually just on the other side of that Red Star Raceway bridge, out of harm's way behind all the protective barriers, to bring you race action here courtesy of Two Wheels TV and up to 60 seconds. So as soon as we got a green flag at the back and the grid has been cleared, looks like we're going to go racing. Sounds like it's going to be a 10 lapper. So they will start as they've lined up there for 10 more laps of action. We started the day with 12 cars. We got demoted down to 10 at the start of race 2, and we're now down to 8. Pace car makes his way down towards turn 1. He'll dictate the pace until he hands over to Franco Di Matteo, who's now been gifted pole position. And he's got a fight of note on his hands there with Mackie Adlam. Terry Wilford behind him. Warren Lombard alongside Terry Wilford. And watch out for Thomas Reeb, trying to make up ground now, with a few less cars to get through. Terry Wilford battling off the line. He eventually gets going. And Wilford will be able to slot back into his grid position because he's got going, but he's going to have to get through this pack. It's not always easy to do when these guys are fired up and getting ready to restart. Di Matteo, Adlam, Lombard, Nell, Reeb, Wilford, Kutsia, and Fuller. That's the remnants of what we've got left. Okay, they've taken up their grid positions correctly now. They've slotted back into positions that they should be in. Fuller and Kutsia are in the correct positions. So it should be Cole now alongside Franco Di Matteo for the front row. Second row I think is going to be Adlam and Lombard. Wilford and Reeb. Wilford and Lombard, pardon. It will be Nell and Reeb for the second row. Coming out of the dog bone into the hairpin. That's the first gear corner for these V8s. And V8 Supercars are able to run up to 140 k's an hour in that first gear. Big locker diffs on these cars, making them into sort of 600 horsepower carts, basically. You know, from Richard Fuller's interview earlier on in the day, what he was saying, how difficult it is to play around with that locker diff on these big V8s. Lombard's team have pulled bits and pieces of the back end of that car out of harm's way. And he'll be looking to maybe get back into the hunt for the front end of the field. So confirmation there. It is Dimitar and Nell on the front row. The Deltic Batteries Jaguar, the Mustang, then it's the Adlam Auto Jaguar. Thomas Reeb alongside him. And then we've got Lombard and Wolford, Fuller and Kutsia at the back. Coming to formation now for 10 laps of race action and part 2 of race 2 of the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. Starting to pick the revs up. Lights out, and here we go down towards turn 1. Mackie Adlam trying to go on the outside of Carl Nell. Nell shuts the door again. He's already fended off a couple of times from Mackie Adlam in this the first part of race 2. Now into second part of race 2, he's got to do more of the same. Nell behind Dimitar. Adlam ahead of Reeb. Reeb ahead of the hard-charging Warren Lombard, and right on his tail is Terry Wolford looking to make up lots of ground. Leading in race number 1, and some kind of issue put him out of the race. So can he get back to the front again now from about 6th place on track? Not going to be an easy task, but there are 10 laps to do it in. Adlam once again shoves the nose of the Jaguar up the inside, trying to find a way past on Carl Nell. Nell shuts the door, doesn't allow him any opportunity to open that door up. Nice sideways action there from Nell. The Mustang boys are doing such a good job there, fighting and sandwiching the Fords and the Chevys all together. There's only one Chevy out there at this point in time, and it is Reeb. The rest of them are all Ford powered. So Reeb, the lone Chevrolet combatant in this field of 7 other Fords. Well, now running wide, you don't want to do that with Mackie Adlam on your tail. He'll make you pay. The pressure's getting to Carl now. Can he just soak it up a bit longer? He's done such a valiant job so far. He needs to do more of the same now for the next 9 or so laps. 9 laps and some change as they come into the penultimate corner. Mackie Adlam. Oh, and Nell spins on his own. Climbs on the loud pedal a little bit too quickly, and he loops the car out. Drops him right to the back of the pack. So the pressure got to Carl Nell, and he drops to the back end of 8 cars. It's Dimitar versus Adlam. But look at the gap that he's got over Adlam. And Lombard's coming along for the ride. Warren Lombard all over the back of Mackie Adlam, bringing Terry Wolford along with him. Fuller closes up as they go into the chicane. It's the Mustang right onto the back end of that Ford Falcon now. So we got Ford-powered vehicles right at the front of this pack. It's Jag, Mustang, Falcon, and Mustang as they head down to turn 3. Jaguar of Mackie Adlam has to fend off the intentions there coming from Warren Lombard and Terry Wolford. Wolford would love to come through and just turn his day from 0 to hero. And the Fuchs Falcon at this stage, he wants by badly. Warren Lombard's not an easy man to pass, neither is Mackie Adlam, but he's still got to find a way to catch the Italian stallion out front as well in the Deltic Batteries Jaguar. Nice run here from Wolford, just putting a little wheel on the inside, just showing the nose there to Lombard. Wasn't close enough to make the move stick, but he's definitely putting the pressure on. Lombard can feel it, can sense it, and he's starting to close in. He's lost a little bit of ground. I said he was going to try and close in on Mackie Adlam. He closes in under braking. Adlam just seems to have the squirt out of the corners and stays ahead. Oh, Wolford runs wide onto the grass, nearly right up into the back end, and he spins right in front of Fuller. Fuller misses him by a few centimeters. Wolford trying too hard. Just loops out that Fuchs Falcon. And now we're going to see David Kutsia go around the outside of the Fuchs Falcon. Yes. Wolford goes onto the grass, also looking possibly not to get any grass fires started there. Kutsia's gone past him. So Wolford now possibly dropping right to the back of the field after a small mistake that he's made. Maybe a little bit too much pressure there from Terry Wolford as he just looped it out on his own. So we got Dimito from Adlam from Lombard from Fuller. Richard Fuller looking to turn his day around as well. Don't want to commentate curse him either. Everybody I said is trying to turn their day around, seems to spin out. Let's see if we can maybe keep it all together now and keep it honest. There you can see just getting a little bit out of shape coming out of turn 6 and 7. He goes down towards turn 8 and just loops it all on his own. So well done to Richard Fuller for avoiding the spinning Ford Falcon in front of him. And also to David Kutsia to avoid it as well as he goes around his outside. Eventually Wolford gets going, but now right at the back of the pack. Don't think he's going to be able to make up any ground from there, that's for sure. So the battle continues here between the two Jaguars out front. Adlam leads out ahead of Dimito. Dimito is certainly controlling things for now, but lots can happen in the space of 7.5 laps. Incredible to think that there's still 7.5 laps of action still to go when we've had so much on-track action in race 2 of Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. There's Wolford trying to make up ground now after a little mistake he made earlier on. Lombard trying to close things down onto the two Jaguars. He's probably going to be hoping that something goes wrong between Adlam and Dimito as Adlam starts to close onto the back end of the Deltec Batteries Jag. Dirty stuff being pulled onto the circuit there as Dimito went a little bit close to the inside curve. Just keeping it ahead of Adlam at this point. The two cats are very evenly matched. I'd have to say I think it would be advantage Adlam as he comes onto the straight, and you can see why. Adlam closes onto the back end of that Deltec Batteries Jaguar of Franco Dimito. Dimito going to try and place the car perfectly. Doesn't want to give any room yet to Adlam. Adlam will get the drive onto the straightaway now. Down towards turn 3. 280 k's an hour in a V8 supercar. And then it's off. Roll off. Stay in third gear and just carry the momentum through the off-camber left-hander. Downhill into turn 4 and 5. Start the dog bone. This is where Adlam is good. Can you have a look on the inside? No, he's not close enough yet, but he's definitely going to just show his intention. I don't want to do that too early on because I think Dimito will realize what he wants to do and possibly keep that door firmly shut. So Dimito now with some work to do. Adlam's right on his bumper, right underneath that big wing of the Deltec Batteries Jaguar. Adlam's certainly looking like the more aggressive driver of the two. He now goes on the hunt up the short straight. Is he close enough here on the brakes to have a go? He has a look. Oh, Dimito is going to shut the door. He does. Adlam had to come out of that. Locked up and stays in second. Dimito saw him coming and kept his one maneuver he's allowed to make until the very last second and then slammed the door shut. And then slides out of turn number 10. Brilliant stuff. Right-hander into a double left. Coming up to complete another lap, and we're going to have 6 laps of action still to come your way. This race action has been very, very good all day. We've seen a new champion crowned in the InvestChem Formula 1600s with Andrew Rackstraw. We're not going to see the V8 champion crown just yet, although Mackie Adlam definitely wants another shot at it. It'll be his 5th championship in a row if he wraps this one up, but Dimito and Reeb are still in with a chance of spoiling his intentions of becoming a 5-time V8 Supercar champion. Adlam is right on the bumper, Slipstream City, and he pulls out, under braking, and he's got it. Adlam cementing first place as he goes down to the bottom turn 3, and moves up the inside and overtakes. And he gives, I don't know if that was the bird or a thank you, but he wasn't happy about it. And that's it. Adlam's hit the front. Now, I don't think there's going to be an answer from Dimito because he wasn't able to match the pace of Mackie Adlam as he went flying past. I think Franco Dimito realizes that this man has got a little bit more pace than he has. And I think that was Mackie Adlam just saying thank you. But now Warren Lombard is going to try and get past the Deltec Batteries Jaguar of Dimito as well. Lombard. High-Tech Mag Repairs, Gavin Wilkins Racing, Pep Boys Automotive, Mustang. There's a problem on the Dimatoa car. Warren Lombard goes flying past him, relatively easily done for second place. Maybe Dimatoa's car is feeling the ill effects of that big crash he had in that car at the Samola Hill climb. He tries to come back at Lombard. He's not giving up just yet, that's for sure. And looks to possibly take on Lombard into the closing stages. We've still got 5 laps to go, incredibly. Is there still a chance? Oh, Wolford spins out again. Wolford has spun out and he's having a tough time of it. He had his car all sorted out. He was on pole position for race number 1. And he was leading, and then it all went sideways. And it's going sideways even more here in race 2. Lombard continues to push for second. Dimatoa's in third. Fuller now up to 4th place and Thomas Reeb in 5. So both Reeb and Dimatoa losing lots of ground here to the man who could take the second victory. Remember, Mackie Adlam had to come from far back on the grid to get this race win. David Kutsia going past us there. Slightly sick sounding Mustang. And he's still continuing to circulate. He wants to try and get as many points as he can. He's currently still in 5th place, ahead of Fuller, Wolford, and Carl Nell. They're all still circulating after their offs. Oh, some more smoke coming out of the back end of that Pep Boys Automotive Mustang. Here he comes up the back straight away now, the little short one heading towards the triple right-hander. Staying in 2nd place ahead of Dimatoa. Dimatoa going to try and nurse the Jag home. That's not going to be easy. Richard Fuller with a problem. Fuller's pulled to the sideline, and I think that's at the penultimate corner by the looks of things. Turn 12 there, and Fuller's on the outside. Will there be a possibility of another safety car? He's looking to get that car fired up. Adlam's gone through on him, so he'll realize that there is a car stricken there. Shouldn't be too difficult to spot that car. He's out of harm's way. He's not on the race line. So it may just deem a bit of assistance from the marshals to get him off track. Or are we going to need the services of that safety car? Adlam from Lombard. Ooh, and Adlam putting some wheels on the dirty stuff on the outside of the corner. Getting a little bit out of shape there. That nearly was a big mistake there from Mackie Adlam, leading this race. Fortunately, he survived that. But as he pitched it into the hairpin, into the chicane, he got the back end stepping out there on some dirty stuff on the sideline. Lombard ahead of Dimatoa. No change of the top 3. Top 4 is Reeb. Reeb's up to 4th now. But he's a long way back from the 3 Fords out front. Unbelievable to think that we've still got 3.5 laps to go here. As I said, with so much action that's happened in the second heat. There is Reeb, losing lots of points and ground in the championship, along with the Deltec Batteries Jaguar of Franco Dimatoa to Mackie Adlam. You can see Adlam coming along there. It was actually quite nice to see the double shot there, coming through and just sweeping past our shot of Thomas Reeb going into the Dogbone. Actually got to see Mackie Adlam starting his ascent back up the hill on the short straight. So it's a long gap to Adlam. Dimatoa still for 3rd. And looks like he's slowing slightly there. Dimatoa definitely is slowing. We got a red flag, that's why. Red flag situation again. Now they've done 5 of 10. Is that going to be enough? Oh, I don't think it is. They normally have to do about 75% of the race distance for the race to be declared. And a second red flag, and I would say that is due to the fact that we've got Richard Fuller's car in a dangerous position. I don't know if we can pick up on that shot again to show us Fuller's car. But if it is Fuller's car, yeah, it is Fuller's car. There he is on the sideline. and possibly due to the fluid pouring from that car, that's why they've maybe deemed it a dangerous position for the car. Driver walks away with one of our marshals, and our grid will reform. So we started the race with 2 Jaguars on the front row. Then we restarted the race with 2 Jaguars on the front row. And now we're going to restart it again for a 3rd time. Looks like they're waving the cars in though. They might call this one. Yeah, it looks like they're going to call this one. They're going to call the cars in and let them roll back into pit lane. Safety car has been deployed. And is that going to be a case of them getting the restart here? Yes, it is. So we're going straight into restart procedure, or are they going to roll the cars out of harm's way? Your guess is as good as mine. Lombard from Di Matteo. Kutsia going through as well. So it looks like the race has been declared for V8 Supercars race number 2. There we go. Lombard peeling into the pit lane. He's followed by Franco Di Matteo. He's second. Di Matteo will be third. Mackie Adlam will take the victory. Thomas Reeb will be in 4th place. David Kutsia in 5th place. But it's a lot closer to his 5th back-to-back championship in Mobil 1 V8 Supercars for Mackie Adlam, as Adlam hangs on to survive a race of attrition here in the Mobil 1 V8 Supercars. Terry Wolford also makes his way back into pit lane. But confirmation unofficially of the results: Adlam, Lombard, Di Matteo, and Thomas Reeb. And then it's David Kutsia ahead of Terry Wolford, Richard Fuller, and Carl Nell.